Hello, everyone. My name is Colby Latocha. I am a 33-year-old multidisciplinary artist born and raised in Ontario, Canada. I'm a gallery recognized painter. I specialize in watercolor, aquarelle, inspired by the classical English tradition. And I figured the weather's getting nice, so I thought everyone should get outside and go painting. So here we are. I'm making a video now. This video is meant to not waste any of your time, so it's just going to get right into it. I will say some of the items are kind of bundled together, but they're usually purchased that way, so I figured it is fair. One last thing, I will say that the Gill Mechanical Company from Eugene, Oregon has been kind enough to sponsor today's video and are actually giving away one of the items on the list, which is the tube-wringer. A little bit of a spoiler there. But I think everybody should own one. I think they're a great product, great company, and it literally will save you thousands of dollars over the course of your painting career. And I don't think that's hyperbole, honestly. But without further ado, let's jump into it and let's get started with item number one. All right, so item number one is going to be a Sterilite plastic container. These containers are usually a couple bucks at your local art store. They're essentially just a plastic pencil case. It's 8.5 inches long by 5 by 8s wide. They're like 1.5 inches in height. You can see inside of this, I've got a bunch of stuff inside of these. I think they're great just because the price, I mean, it's essentially a plastic case, so any case like that would do. But the reason why I like these is because you can fit a 12 palette watercolor palette. I have a cloth here. These are paint brushes. I usually put mechanical pencils in here as well. That's a sponge, obviously. You got some erasers and stuff. So basically just everything you would need if you were just going to be like, okay, grab this and go. Kind of just by itself. So that's why I like those. I think that would be item number one if you were going to start a kit. And like I said, these are called bucks. So the good thing is that you could get a few of them. So you could actually do one. I have a couple of these and I use them for like charcoals and things like that as well. That way they stay compartmentalized. So there you go. Object number one. So for item number two, it's going to be just simply a mechanical pencil. This is just a 0.7 millimeter Graph Gear 500 by Pentel. The brand doesn't really matter too much. I would just get a reputable art brand that you like working with. There's a few different versions here. This is a Staedtler. That's a Pentel Graph Gear 1000. This is a Staedtler here. Brand doesn't matter too much. Like I said, just get something reputable. That I would stick with a smaller lead size if you can, just for watercolor kit. But there are different sizes you can get. Here's a 5.6 millimeter clutch, for example, for a pencil. But yeah, just get something that you enjoy using. You can also do an actual clutch with a full pencil if you want. For traveling purposes, I would personally just recommend sticking with a mechanical pencil, just because then you can ensure the lead won't break when you travel. But it's personal choice. I like to work with both, so whatever you like to work with, get that, but don't break the bank. And like I said, just get one or two pencils if you can. All right, so for our next item, I'm cheating and putting all the watercolor stuff in one spot, just because honestly you can't use you can't use watercolor without water. So kind of goes without saying, if you're packing watercolor, you should pack a cup to put the water in and a spray bottle. But that's not really the focus here. But like I said, if you're using watercolor, that obviously goes without saying. The main focus here is the palette of the paints. There's a few different options here. The main thing is, I would say, get a 12 palette of paint, which is, that size there. I would say don't get too caught up on the brand of paints right now. I would say, whatever you can afford. That's a reasonable brand of reputability. Like, for example, these are Winsor Newton Cotman paints. This is Schminke, and this is just a standard empty palette that I put my own paints in when I was making, and you can see it's kind of empty there. I would personally buy a palette that already has colors in it rather than going the route of filling it up with your own paints, simply because you're going to spend a lot of time and effort going through the motions of trying to figure that out. When you're starting out, I would just go for something that already gives you what you need to go, and then focus on the paints you want to change your palette to later if you want to go that route. But of course you can make your own palette. That's not a problem. I just personally I would personally recommend just getting stuff that gets you painting right away if you're new to it, rather than messing around with all the other different things. But that's my opinion. So yeah, a small palette like that, I would get that size, simply because, like I mentioned, any of these will fit inside that container there, which is a good size. So paint palette is your next item. There you go. All right, our next item is just going to be simply sponge. This is a sea sponge or paper towel. Both of these are just for absorbing extra water and for painting with when you're outside of your studio or your house. It comes down to personal preference. I would say sponge is easier, but it doesn't obviously work the same as paper towel. Traveling with paper towel obviously has a mess they have to carry around with you. Usually shouldn't be too bad if you have a knapsack or a big purse or a bag with you. But that's something to consider, especially depending on what types of paints you're using in your palette. But either or is a good option, but just, your choice, but one or the other. All right, the next item on our list is just going to be some watercolor paper. This is watercolor paper that I've pre-ripped up into a bunch of 5.5 by 7.5s with a bull clip on it there. I would either rip up your own paper like that, or I would purchase a block. That way you can travel with it. The ones that have like the pre-glued blocks. That way it has a hard backing to it. But it's personal preference. Regardless of the paper that you get, I would suggest getting 100% cotton paper, not wood pulp. So you want cotton rag paper. There are other papers you can use, like the wood pulp papers, or for example, like Bristol when you're painting portraits. I would say that there's lots of different, when it comes to watercolor painting, there's lots of different papers you can use that will give you lots of interesting results. But when you're starting out, I would say watercolor paper, probably cold press, 100% cotton is your best bet. That's what I would go for. But yeah, experiment, do whatever you want, practice on different types of papers, paint on everything. But yeah, get paper to paint on. You need it, obviously. All right, the next item is the tube-wringer. So the tube-wringer is a product made by the Gill Mechanical Company from Eugene, Oregon. And I think this is a product that every painter should have in their painting kit. It will literally save you thousands of dollars over the course of your painting career. I'm sure of it. And they have been kind enough to sponsor today's video. So one lucky viewer is going to be getting a medium tube-wringer. So this is the heavy duty one. So it's the one below this on their website. And it is a great product. Like I said, it works really great. It helps you basically get every last drop of paint out of your painting tube. So I'll show you how it works really quick here. So if you have a tube of paint like this, where it's like almost all the paint, you think it's been taken out of the tube, but you're trying to get the last bit out of it, this is the device that you would use to help you with that. So I'm just going to give a quick demonstration here. Just one sec. So you put the tube of paint in the ending of the device here, like so, and then you crimp down on this like that, and then with your other hand you're going to twist the handle just like so. And then just like that, you can see all the remainder of that paint has been squeezed to the ending of the tube. And there you go. Well, no paint has been wasted. So like I said, this product over the course of, you know, your time as an artist is definitely going to have its value proven to you. Yeah, so I think everyone should own one. I think you should support the Gill Mechanical Company. Buy one for yourself if you can. But also, we're running a contest today, as I mentioned earlier in the video. So all you have to do to win a Gill Mechanical Company tube-wringer is like and subscribe. So like this video, subscribe to this page, subscribe to the Gill Mechanical Company as well on their YouTube, and then comment below what you're going to be painting with your plein air kit this spring, and you will be entered in to win a tube-wringer for yourself. The contest is going to run March 30th until April 6th, 2026. Limited to entrants in North America only, but one lucky viewer is going to be given a tube-wringer. And yeah, so all you have to do is do that, and no purchase is necessary. So I hope you guys will take a time to enter that. And thank you very much once again to the Gill Mechanical Company for sponsoring today's video. Next item on our list is an item that most people would probably overlook, but I think is a non-negotiable, which is a viewfinder. So this item, if you're not familiar with it, is used to basically frame an image when you're painting. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but there's numbers here that will tell you the scale of the painting that you'd make. You would just open this up, and then you'd hold it up like this and peek through the finder to frame your painting. And then also these can be used as a color gauge, so you can gauge like gray against that green there, for example, and then you can use it as a reference like that as well to kind of give yourself a reference of the color. So yeah, these are, I think, 100% mandatory. There's tons of different versions of them. This is the View Catcher brand. I think they're the original creators of this particular style, so I would support them if you can. But yeah, definitely worth your time. Go grab one. So the next item on the list is going to be just paint brushes. So these are travel brushes here. This one's a Sable travel brush. They just unscrew like this and then go back together. Go back together like that. And then you have a paintbrush. Brand doesn't really matter too much. I would just get, whatever you're comfortable painting with. You can also use actual paint brushes that aren't travel brushes, like just your standard Sable brush or whatever. Essentially, whatever fits in your kit is what I would recommend. So you have several options you can travel with, in my opinion. Get whatever is efficacious and affordable and you're happy with painting with. But it's relative to the size of the canvas, right? So if you're painting on, canvas that's this size, I would recommend, maybe a 6 or an 8 or a 10 or something to that effect. I wouldn't go too crazy in brushes. I only ever travel with 1 or 2. Next item on our list is a drawing board. So, the size doesn't make too much of a difference here. I would just get something that's comfortable to travel with. This is basically going to be used instead of an easel when you're watercoloring, just because there's not really much of a point in traveling with an easel if you're just doing quick sketches for watercolor. Get something small. This can be leaned, when you're out painting and you're holding stuff, you sit down and this is your easel, so you can be, mobile as you're painting. Something that can fit inside of a book bag or a bag is also a bonus, but I think that's a reasonable size to have and to put into your kit. There you go. All right, the next item's gonna be just a bag. So like, I don't have an example of it, but whatever you want to put your kit into. So I would recommend like a book bag or a purse or something that you're comfortable carrying, maybe a fanny pack if you want to be adventurous. Yeah, just whatever you're comfortable carrying, I guess. I would recommend not carrying something too big that's going to make you tired when you're carrying it. I don't think you should put much else in it beyond the items that I've recommended. beyond maybe like some water for yourself to drink or some snacks or whatever else you might need to carry with you when you're traveling. But the idea is to get out painting, not to get distracted by all other kinds of stuff. So whatever's small, and you just grab it and you go, like literally like 30 seconds. What can you, like, the bag is ready to go. So whatever can be dedicated to that, that would be my recommendation. There you go. All right, so that concludes today's video on what I would pack into a plein air painting kit to get out painting this spring. I hope you've learned something, and I hope you'll take time to enter the contest that is going on in this video. Once again, sponsored by Gill Mechanical Company from Eugene, Oregon, the creators of the tube-wringer, who will be giving away one of the medium 205 tube-wringers to one lucky viewer of this video. The contest runs from March 30th to April 6th, 2026. And once again, to enter, all you need to do is like this video, comment below what you would paint this spring with your painting kit, subscribe to my channel, and then subscribe to Gill Mechanical Company's channel, and you are entered to win. No purchase necessary. And that contest is limited once again to residents in North America, and you will be contacted after April the 6th about your prize. I hope you guys will get out painting this spring, and if you have any questions, once again, let me know below in the comments, and I'll get back to them as soon as I can. So don't delay. Get the kit together, get out painting. The weather's nice. Go create, and thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope to see you next time. All right, bye.